The first time I saw her smile, it was a cold, dismissive thing, not meant for me, but for the gravel road snaking behind my house. It was the kind of smile you'd give a pest before crushing it underfoot. That moment, standing on my back deck, I knew my quiet retirement was dead. Her name was Evelyn Harper, president of the Pine Ridge Homeowners Association, dressed in crisp linen and a string of pearls that gleamed like a warning. She held a welcome basket, its cheeriness clashing with my calloused hands, hardened from years of real work. "Such a shame about that eyesore," she said, nodding at the rugged path cutting through the ponderosa pines. "The board's discussing wildflowers, or maybe a mural to soften it." I took a slow sip of my beer, the bottle icy against my palm. "Don't," I said, my voice flat. Her smile flickered just for a second. "I'm sorry." "That's a fire access road," I said, pointing with the bottle. "Block it, and you cut off the only escape if this canyon burns." Her laugh was sharp, patronizing. "Oh, our landscaping team would plan around that. Besides, the main road handles emergencies. That path's just redundant." Redundant. The word hung like a challenge. I didn't tell her I'd been a captain with Cal Fire for 26 years. I didn't mention I'd helped map that very road after the '98 firestorms. My topographic overlay still tucked in a binder in my garage, marking it as a protected emergency corridor. I'd moved to Pine Ridge for peace, not a fight. But that was 2 months ago. Now the silence I craved was gone, replaced by the hum of bad fluorescent lights and Evelyn's syrupy voice in the community rec center. I stood at the back, choking on burnt coffee, as she droned about fence heights and holiday decorations. Then she dropped it. "Under new business, we'll proceed with the Ridge Beautification Project." My hand rose, slow, heavy, the part of me that wanted quiet begging it to drop. But the part that still felt the weight of a firefighter's helmet pushed harder. Evelyn's eyes locked on me, her polite mask hiding a flicker of irritation. "Yes, Mr. Garrett." I stepped forward. "James Garrett, Lot 47, retired captain, Cal Fire." The title landed like a stone in the room of manicured lawns and HOA rules. "I've sent 3 emails with municipal plans and fire risk assessments for that road. No response, so I'll ask here. Are you aware your beautification plan places 2-ton boulders and deep-rooted plants across a registered secondary egress?" Chairs creaked. Evelyn's smile was a steel trap. "We appreciate your passion, Mr. Garrett, and thank you for your service, but our licensed landscaping team has reviewed the site. It'll boost property values and community spirit." My voice dropped, cold. "I'm not talking property values. I'm talking a 40-degree slope, dry pine fuel, and Santa Ana winds that can turn this canyon into an inferno in 10 minutes. Suddenly, I wasn't in the rec center. I was on a ridge 20 years ago, choking on smoke, heat searing my skin, the fire's roar shaking my bones. I was screaming into a radio for my best friend, Tom. "Tom, what's your 20? Talk to me." Static. Just static. His crew had tried a secondary road. A shortcut a logging company swore was clear. It wasn't. A pile of timber blocked it. They were trapped. The smoke plume turned oily black, and we all knew what that meant. I promised Tom's wife I'd have his back. A promise I broke. I blinked, the rec center snapping back. Evelyn's face was a mix of pity and impatience. "I hardly think wildflowers will start a wildfire," she said, her tone final. "The main road will do its job." I stared, her words a slap. "Property values," I said, quiet but sharp, "don't mean a damn thing if people can't get out alive." Silence swallowed the room. I walked out, knowing the vote was lost. I'd seen that look before in bureaucrats who thought they knew better than the men on the ground. A guy near the door, Greg Larson, muttered, "Someone's got too much time on his hands." I stopped, glancing back. Know how fast a crown fire moves through dry pine with a 20-knot wind? 15 seconds to cross 100 yards. That's how long you'd have to grab your kids before your house is gone. I left him with that. Stepping into the cool night, the quiet of Pine Ridge turned heavy, like the calm before a storm. A week later, a flatbed truck roared in, followed by a backhoe belching black smoke. I watched from my porch, coffee gone cold, as they unloaded massive granite boulders, smooth, curated, the kind rich people buy to fake nature. For 2 hours, I stood there as the crew placed them along the ridge, right where the fire road began. They left just enough space for a person to slip through. A clever illusion of access. It wasn't landscaping. It was a blockade, built slow and pretty to hide its danger. That evening, a soft knock came. It was Sarah Mitchell, an HOA board member with nervous eyes. "Can I come in, Jim?" she whispered, glancing back like a fugitive. She stood at my window, staring at the boulders glowing in the twilight. "It's not about flowers," she said, barely audible. Evelyn held a private meeting with a Scottsdale developer. They're planning a Pine Ridge Nature Sanctuary, private trails, picnic areas, maybe an amphitheater. I let the silence stretch. They're blocking an evacuation route for a picnic area. She shrugged, defeated. It's about prestige, money. I voted no, but Evelyn's got the new members dazzled. They don't see the risk. She calls you a paranoid retiree scaring everyone. Am I? I asked. No, she whispered, eyes pleading. But be careful. She doesn't just want to win. She wants to crush you. Alone again, I felt like an outcast. I wasn't just a resident. I was the enemy. So, I fell back on what I knew, procedure. For 2 days, I pored over my binders, maps, municipal codes. I drafted letters to the HOA, the county zoning office, the fire marshal, citing ordinances, attaching photos of the boulders. Certified mail. No response. Then the HOA summer newsletter arrived, glossy and smug, with Evelyn's article, Progress and Preservation, the Future of Pine Ridge. She crowed about enhancing perimeters and addressing trespassing concerns, never mentioning fire or egress. One sentence stabbed at me: we must not let unfounded alarmism from a few hinder our community's progress. It was war, wrapped in a bow. Then the mountain spoke. On a scorching Thursday, a dry wind rattled the pines. I smelled it, wild, burning brush, sharp and unmistakable. From my deck, I saw it, a churning gray plume on the north ridge. Not lazy, but angry, driven by 20-knot winds. Binoculars confirmed a fast-moving brush fire. My old radio scanner crackled, wildfire. North Ridge. Rapid spread. All units respond. I watched fire engines struggle up the canyon's far side, losing precious minutes. An aerial tanker dropped retardant, but the smoke thickened, the sky turning brown. My phone rang. Chief Mike Dawson, my old battalion chief. "Jim, that fire today. My crews lost 15 minutes because the main access was a mess. They had to use an old service road. If that fire had started on your side with that wind, we'd be counting bodies. You were right to raise hell." I looked at the boulders, no longer art, but tombstones. His words weren't victory. They were a warning ignored. I tried letters, facts, experience. They'd met me with silence and ridicule. The mountain had fired a shot, and they hadn't noticed. My strategy shifted. If the board wouldn't listen, the neighbors would. I designed a flyer, stark and simple. Did you know the South Ridge Road is a registered fire access route? It's now blocked by HOA construction. If the main road is jammed, there's no secondary exit. Ask your HOA why. Before dawn, I slipped them into newspaper boxes and pinned them to bulletin boards. The HOA's response was instant. An email blast called my flyers alarmist and threatened covenant violations. I'd rattled them, but I underestimated Evelyn. A week later, a gas-powered auger tore through the morning. They were installing a fence, not decorative, but industrial, with 4-inch steel posts sunk in concrete. A 6-foot wire barrier, triple wound, stretched across the road, sealed with a heavy padlock. No emergency access, no sign. It was a tomb's gate. A hand-delivered note appeared in my mailbox. Dear Mr. Garrett, your actions are monitored. Continued interference, including surveillance and hostility toward contractors, may lead to legal action and loss of privileges. I laughed, bitter. Surveillance. I'd just taken photos from my property. It was intimidation, the last gasp of a bully losing ground. I called a friend, Nate, in County Emergency Services. I need a drone, I said. He sighed. Jim, I've heard about your crusade. You sure? They've built a wall and threatened me for photographing it. I'm sure. The next day, I flew the drone from my backyard. The footage was damning, the main road's bottleneck, the fire road straight escape route, now cut off by a fence and boulders. It wasn't art, it was a trap. I uploaded the video online, titled Pine Ridge HOA Fire Access Blockade, July 2025, and posted it to the neighborhood Facebook group. It exploded, thousands of views in hours. Comments raged, this is outrageous. My brother's a firefighter. This is illegal. Evelyn's allies fought back, he's scaring everyone to tank property values. Anonymous threats hissed, back off before you burn bridges. Literally. The HOA called an emergency town hall, claiming to clarify safety projects. I knew it was damage control, but the nest was kicked. Saturday dawned hot, the air thick with tension. I loaded my truck with my binder and drone footage, ready for a showdown. But as I grabbed my keys, an orange haze filtered through my window, carrying the sharp, hungry smell of smoke. Binoculars showed a churning column on the north ridge, wind pushing it southeast toward us. The scanner screamed, wildfire, North Ridge, 20-knot winds. Pine Hollow, be advised. An HOA robocall from Evelyn purred, a small brush fire. No evacuation order. Stay home. Avoid unauthorized paths. Small fire. The sky was purple. Ash fell like snow. I grabbed my go bag, water, first aid, radio, headlamp, documents. And checked my Jeep's fuel. Then Sarah called, sobbing. Jim, my mom's stuck. Her power's out. Garage won't open. She can't get her wheelchair out. I'm blocked across the development. I looked at the chaos outside, a 2-car pileup clogging the main road. Stay put, Sarah. I'm getting her. I ran to the street, where panic reigned. Cars abandoned. Neighbors screaming. I cupped my hands and roared, listen. The main road's a trap. Follow me, there's another way. A few moved, hope flickering. I sprinted to Sarah's mom, Ellen, in her dark living room and muscled her wheelchair down the steps. Back at my yard, a crowd gathered, dozen, then 2, then 3. Smoke thickened, ash fell, children cried. We faced the fence, its padlock gleaming. They locked us in, a woman screamed. I grabbed bolt cutters from my garage, clamped them on the padlock, and snapped it with a grunt. The gate swung open, but the boulders remained. Help me! I yelled, clawing at a rock. Greg Larson, the muttering skeptic, ran up with a sledgehammer. You were right, he gasped, swinging hard. The rock shattered. Others joined, frantic, digging a narrow path. Single file, go. I shouted, directing traffic. I pushed Ellen's chair through, then helped a mother with kids. The HOA's lawyer, Mr. Daniels, stumbled through, a branch crashing onto his leg. Leave him, someone yelled. Nobody gets left. I roared, lifting the branch with Greg. We dragged Daniels, limping, down the path. I saw Evelyn in the crowd, her linen suit filthy, her face raw with fear. No arrogance, just survival. The fire's roar was deafening, the sky ablaze. Halfway down, red and blue lights flashed below, rescue at the county road. Keep moving. I bellowed, my throat raw, pushing the last stragglers. I looked back. Pine Ridge was a wall of flames, devouring homes. We'd escaped through the door they tried to seal. In the high school gym, the air reeked of burnt plastic and loss. Neighbors sat shell-shocked, wrapped in Red Cross blankets. Greg clutched his family. Sarah tended her mom. Evelyn sat alone, her suit torn, one shoe gone, a bandage on her leg. She wasn't the HOA queen anymore, just a broken woman staring at the floor. I felt a flicker of grim satisfaction, but it faded. No victory here, just survival. I grabbed a water bottle and walked to her. She flinched, expecting rage. I set the bottle by her cot and leaned in. Your property values, Evelyn, I whispered. This is what they look like. Her face collapsed, sobs breaking free. I walked away. The war was over. Chief Mike found me, exhausted. Jim, 72 people walked out of that trail because of you. No fatalities, 2 minor injuries. You did good, Captain. My house survived, barely, its deck charred. By dawn, I drove through a blackened world to the trailhead. The fence was gone, steel posts twisted, wire melted, padlock a fused lump. The fire had judged it with a fury my bolt cutters couldn't match. Weeks later, Evelyn resigned, her email full of empty phrases. A class action lawsuit and city investigation followed, exposing her developer deal. The South Ridge Trail was named a protected corridor, its obstruction now a crime. I framed the proclamation next to my old badge, a reminder not to stay silent. Sarah, now interim HOA president, asked me to speak at a town hall. The room was packed, no hostility, just heavy silence. I told them about fire, how it hunts, and about Tom, who died for a blocked road. A woman asked, how do we prevent this again? Listen, I said, when someone sounds an alarm, listen. A kid from the evacuation thanked me for saving his sister. His words were worth more than any medal. The trail was graded, lit with emergency markers. Mike suggested naming it Garrett Route. Call it Ridge Trail, I said. Let the story last. I joined the county's fire council as a consultant, trading isolation for purpose. A letter came, handwritten, you were right. Thank you for not giving up. I tucked it in my binder, closing a brutal chapter. At the trail's base, a bench appeared under an oak, its plaque reading, for those who watch and act. I sat there as kids biked and neighbors waved. Pine Ridge's fear hadn't vanished, but it had become vigilance, respect. The silence I'd sought wasn't solitude. It was a community at peace, a promise kept, a ghost laid to rest. The road was open, and it would stay that way.